Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. This is going to be a channeled spirit message reading in the beginning, and I'll touch up on it quickly, and then I'll get to the main part of the reading, which will be the tarot reading. Um, the talking that I do in the beginning is part of the reading too. So I would consider this part two. I would also consider this to be a reading for Leo, since the readings that I've been doing lately have had a lot of flow to them, as the months have flow as they go into one month after another, associating with the different zodiac signs. So that's how I've been doing it these past couple of readings. If you have seen the heavy reading of the Aries reading, you don't have to go there if you don't want to, but this is in a way a part two, but it isn't necessary to go to part two since I'll be brushing up on it in the beginning of the reading. Mainly because I was asking if I am doing well with continuing doing these readings, and the message was more of a confirmation. There's this spirit, and it the super soft energy. I don't usually communicate with spirits in that way. So I decided to do this because the energy, the grandfather energy that I was getting, was so kind and genuine, gentle, one of the kindest souls I would say that I've ever come across, with it being of other realms and of this world too. So I was told that the dream that I had for the Aries reading, it wasn't just a dream, it wasn't my dream, it was a memory for the um person, and that there was more clarification with the interactions in the dream that I had, and that the father figure was more of confirmation that that was the father figure. And then there was the daughter, and then the younger male that was younger than the father. And I was thinking there was some interaction since he was talking to the daughter, that there could have been something, but it was interesting and peculiar that the younger male, it as if like, because it looked like buddy buddy, as if, if you go out with somebody and they try to make a good impression on your parents, but it was so, it was such an, it was in a way where the energies were so um it was more rooted, as if there was already an established dynamic between the males, as if they already knew each other and communicated, and they knew like different things about each other, and it was like a more of a connection already that was there. And then when the daughter was talking to the younger male, and then he was like trying to take some jewels from the apartment, or from the house, or where they were at, it was their home. Like the daughter was like, that's, you shouldn't do that, that's not good. And then as the daughter was getting distracted, the younger male was like, in a way, slip or like sneakily trying to get the stuff, as if while she's distracted, I'm just gonna do this. And then once he took it and then he left, and then it was interesting because like when he left and then they found the car that he was in, and then there was like a death, as if something seriously happened after that. Um, there was someone else in the car, but it was as if that person, the other person that was in the car specifically, it looked like they were in the driver's seat. This person, as they were like blurred out, as if it was like covered, like they're um weren't supposed to be seen in that way. So that was more the clarification, and that was part of, I would say this is like a little bit of the part two, so you can get the clarification because I had such a deep reading for the Aries reading. And it's definitely completely okay if some days you want to have like more of a lighthearted reading, and other days um, you kind of delve into those parts of your life, or maybe memories or things that have happened in the world. Because I am doing more of like worldly readings to specific areas, to specific um, in specific times. So the main message of this reading will be the integration between two worlds or two people. There seems to be um, as if like opposites and then coming together. I think that was one of the important messages that is coming in for Leo, but the beginning of this for the channeled spirit message, I felt like I wanted to get that out just because of there was such a genuine energy there. And when I was getting the clarification, it was as if the energy did not want to startle me in any way. So I'm going to get into the reading. I have a couple of decks that I'll be using. It'll be the Slavic Legends Tarot, the Dreams of Gaia. I love the softness of this one, and then you get really um, unique or specific messages because it's more of not an abstract deck, but there's a lot of artwork from the artist. It definitely has her interpretations in here, which I really do enjoy. To keep it more on the lighthearted streak, I chose to do the or choose the Mystic Fairy. I just saw the bottom of the deck, so I'll be keeping that and whatever I pulled with that one. So I'm happy I got this deck because I feel like um because there's a story that goes with it, but I didn't read the story, and I'm not really planning on reading the story because I want to have my own take on them. And I've definitely been getting a lot of different things, even though it kind of is flowy and is a storybook and is one that, like if you read it, not saying that the book isn't valuable, but if you read it and you see certain cards, you may have it implanted in you that you are seeing the cards in that specific way. And I want to expand the interpretations as much as I can get in my readings. So I'm using the Tarot of the She. This is one of my older decks. And I was also getting the Great Task with the integration between two worlds because it won't be easy. And also I feel like the gentle grandfather energy is also in a way saying um, to be able to unlock those parts of your life. And I was also getting that as if being afraid of your own shadow, like there's a lot of anxiety towards anything that is different other than what you know. And then it's almost like as if it's shunning that energy away because if I don't know it, it's automatically not good or it's automatically something that I need to put my walls up for, guard myself and others because I don't know much about it, but I just know that I need to I need to do this because that's what I'm telling myself. So it was the very first one. It is the Warrior 10, the 10 of Wands, the Great Task, and it's the 10 of Wands and the heavy movement and being able to connect these two worlds, even though it's heavy. And a lot of times you'll be seen as a person that's not in like the best light sometimes, but sometimes if it isn't harming you or anybody, that I think the Scorpio energy in me, I know this is technically a Leo reading, but the Scorpio energy in me, because half of my chart is in Scorpio, but I'm a Libra, sun, is that um, with Scorpio, there's such a emphasis on needing to change things in your life and um, even healer energy too, if you associate it with a snake. Being able to heal yourself and not expect others to heal you. Because sometimes it can be painful, but if you avoid it, it's just gonna linger and then it'll it almost will be like a monster that's in the dark places in your life that it's it might eat away at those things that you try to keep it away from. I also have my deck, the Earthfairy Tarot. I'm trying to have a consistency with my decks because I have been bringing out more. I feel like there is something that shines, and when you, it's almost as if like the light got shined on something that has been maybe put to the darkness or been almost like avoided or um something to where maybe there wasn't as much justice to it as you would have wanted it to have. Because I'm looking at this crystal and it just keeps it is already like a shiny crystal, but it just keeps like gleaming at me. Finding room on my bed to put all these decks and I'll bring these out for now. A lot coming from my deck. So it looks like there's a lot of um, good messages that are coming. Because I got the Star card, which has the nymph on it. And it's almost as if somebody or something that says you don't belong there because there's the mangroves there too. And it's unusual because, well, in this card it's more dreamy, but the mangroves, they grow in the water, so like you see them a lot in lagoons, and it's so beautiful to see like the roots, like when you go under the water you see them. Um, because it's like I do belong here because that's what nature did for me. I that this is where I belong and this is what I'm meant to do. And there's such like an emphasis, and that kind of feels like with that with the crystal too, as if needing to shine your light, needing to um, shine it in the darkness to make sure that um, like your baby or your lover, your child, your uh, they don't, like when you shine the light on it, it's like almost as if you're saying, see, there's nothing to worry about here. And with the Eight of Pentacles, like needing to tend or take care of the needs of the ones that aren't able to, like if you're able to help, you're physically able, you're mentally able, you have the emotional capability to then help the ones that aren't able to get out of the darkness just yet. And it definitely seems tedious because you have the Three of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles, and needing to use your past experiences and wisdom because you have that with the salmon, and then you have the salmon that's in the Four of Pentacles too in the chest, and being able to use the resources that you have to bring this to light. You also have the cat here too, which can be seen as more of a familiar and more, and if you aren't part of that, maybe spiritual part, maybe something or someone in your life, or maybe a higher power helps guide you through those times, and in a way that is somebody that um, is the helpful guide. So I was just thinking because there was like this um, there's like this, is it a meme, like a picture, and it's like my spirit guides looking at me from above, and like they're in a cloud, but it's so random because you have like random things like a crocodile or this person or that person, and I feel like that's how my spirit team is. There is a Knight of Cups reversed, which is interesting because you see the moon just really illuminate something, but it does feel like there is that anxiety or fear of wanting to step out of the water wanting to step out of your element and into something that could be refreshing to you. It's as if they're tied to a certain area or land or sea because this is like a sea spirit that it has only known the world that he's known. Uh, there could be, again, guides or like people, places, or things in your life that kind of prove it otherwise, that there is good in the world. Sometimes you don't have to be afraid of certain things in your life. And if you take a chance, then it'll be fulfilling. And um, sometimes it works. And then you'll be able to use that experience for the future too, for other things that you want to do. And um, it definitely feels like wanting to be able to do that. And there might be needing to do this at the beat of your own drum because you have Warrior 5 and Warrior 6, the Five of Wands and the Six of Wands. So you see that this person is like something is guarding this person into doing other things, into moving forward, into um moving forward. And I say that there is this, maybe it looks like there's an inspirational maybe figure that kind of shines their light, and it's almost as if there are a group of people in this area that have been feeling so lost and depressed and not having a lot of motivation to do anything else but to be sad and to close themselves off. But again, with something that gleams, and I like how it says no foe too great at the bottom, that um, that it gives you the confirmation to be able to live again and to find at least one thing that you're happy about living for. It could be for yourself, it could be for other people. I think that things are turning around, and because I got the reversed Four of Cups in the beginning too, because I've been looking at the bottom of the deck. I don't usually do that too often. And it's the reversed Four of Cups, which I think is good because I feel like the cup that has been trying to keep coming to you and coming to you and coming to you. And you're just like, I don't I don't know. I don't know what to do with this cup because it just seems like this cup's a weirdo and I don't know. It just seems like, do I want to have anything to do with that cup? I mean, I kind of like that cup and it's kind of like my vibe, but what's going to happen if I accept this? And it's going to take me out of the norm that I know. But I think it's like eventually getting out of that mindset. And I think it's associated with the Knight of Cups too, because I think that there's such a beautiful thing about really being yourself. And there's also, of course, there can be practicality to it too, but I'm also getting like the message, like with Scorpio energy, heavy Scorpio energy, at least for me. And again, I know this is like a Leo reading coming up, or it this reading is as I've been flowing into one energy to another. But the energy and like the phrase that I'm getting for Scorpio is today is a good day to die, and I am not afraid. So there is more of a confidence that comes out. And that could definitely link to Leo too, with the fire and having the lion heart and being able to step into like a power mode instead of like a position of the position that has been really holding you down and making you feel upset. Like, why hold on to something that makes you feel so sad? And then why do you keep like not taking that cup that makes you feel like life is worthwhile and that life is worth it and that you're worth it and that um they're like, I guess, the PBT or J. So that's peanut butter and jelly. um there's just a connection and like an integration between the two. There's a struggle of seeing things in black and white because you have the two of swords and then you have the five of wands here. Again with the five of wands too. Because I feel that you could be holding yourself back. And it might not be, it might be an external thing, but it also has to do with you thinking maybe I shouldn't do this, or maybe something else like is meant for me, or um I'm looking at my statue of the apple tree and it keeps popping up, and it's as if like going back to the beginning of the channel part of the message, it's like I was getting the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and that history repeating itself, and that she sees you the way that maybe um, how and what she has seen things in a way where there's waiting and there's war. A lot of waiting. But in this time, it's important to really make sure that your mind is healthy and to make sure that your mind is centered in the environment that you're in, to make sure that it's like, sorry, I keep saying it, to be at peace when chaos is surrounding you. And the energy is familiar. But to this reading, um, the maiden, and the Eight of Wands. So this is definitely like a intuitive type of card with the priestess energy. And then you have the Eight of Wands too. There's such an intensity that it keeps like coming in stronger and stronger because it's like the world is trying to give you better signs. Because either that or they're just like, get the signs, because you don't want to keep getting stuck in the same cycle over and over again because you keep thinking that what you're doing is the most practical thing and it keeps putting you in the same cycle when it's trying to get you out of this cycle. And it looks like she's looking at the signs and trying to follow that path because she doesn't have like map quest or like a GPS telling her where to go. So she's kind of seeing the things that nature is trying to show her, like what part of the tree has the moss on it, where do the mushrooms grow, what kind of droppings does this animal have, or um, there's a grounding energy too, because you have the future with the Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Coins. I I feel that the Knight energy is becoming more consistent because with the reverse Knight of Cups, like the moon there is just it's really taking up a lot of space on the card, and yet as much as it's gleaming, as much as it's trying to shine its light, the Knight of Cups is like kind of stepping back because the Knight of Cups um maybe has seen it or interpreted it in a different way, as if they don't speak the same language, and maybe the world doesn't speak the same language as you, and that's why there just has been confusion because there hasn't been like a translation for it, or maybe one person says it like this and the other person says it like that, and it is like sounding like completely different things, and can be interpreted in different ways. So there is a sense of getting clarity. And I feel that the Knight of Cups could actually become the King of Cups because the three present energies you have, or the Knight of Cups actually is turning into the Emperor, which is definitely great. I think because it's because of the reversed Four of Cups, where you finally accept that cup that maybe your higher power gave to you. Like, I'm trying to give you this. You said you wanted this. I'm giving it in a way that you're meant to have it, and yet you're not taking the cup. Like, I don't understand. I don't know what else to do with you. I guess you just have to go through the cycle again and just wait another 10 years for this to happen. Um, but I feel like uh the with the knight, he's like picking up what I guess God is putting down for him because he's turning into the emperor, and the emperor is the embodiment of all the kings, and especially it jumps because it's the reverse Knight of Cups to the upright King of Cups, where there is just such an expansion and openness to this too. It kind of feels like the Little Mermaid in a way because, well, King Trident and then Ariel like didn't, obviously he didn't want her to leave, and then she got in some shit, but then she got out of it. It's kind of funny, like when you hear like different stories of people doing all these things in their life, and at the end of the story, it's like, but I turned out fine. That's kind of how I feel like that would be like, at least if not the king's energy or the emperor's energy, but the other person's energy, that maybe you're given like the cup, and like this cup is like um just bursting with light and energy, and just like so incredibly different than what you are used to, and then sometimes at some point I feel like maybe you don't know how to handle that, or um if you should handle it, or um if it's like two different languages, that is what it is. It's like there's this other like video of when a doctor hands you a prescription, like this is pharmacy, and then when the doctor hands you a prescription, and then it has like the song coming up of like the Reading Rainbow song. Because Reading Rainbow, it was a childhood um show talking about books. And then the person's just like looking at the prescription, and then like math equations pop up in the air, and then like hieroglyphics pop up, and they're just like, what does this say? I'm so like, because it's literally just like a squiggle, and then you're supposed to decipher it. That's kind of what I feel like it looks like, or how it feels. But um with the Eight of Cups, it looks like I need to go to that cup that I know is worth it for me. This kind of looks like, with the cups, this kind of looks like the baggage of past emotional trauma, or baggage of the past, and being like, I just need to let it all out, because there's a waterfall in the background too. So you have the Six of Cups, interesting because this has been showing up in the past, and this is like a past card. Like this card specifically talks about the past in a lot of readings. Um, there's just something so, I feel like, elegant, or there is like a calmness, even a shyness or a delicateness, as if you're um, something so gentle, as if maybe like a gentle type of love. That's what I get from the Six of Cups. And this reminds me of lagoon energy, even though this isn't a lagoon, because you have that in the star card in the where the mangroves are. And one of the memories that I had in Florida when I lived there for a couple of years, I loved going to the lagoons because like it wasn't too busy. It was just like families um with their babies, and it wasn't crowded, not like the beach, and it was like really chill. And that was like kind of like the hangout. It was nice. And it kind of feels like that type of environment, that if I were to say an environment for the Six of Cups, it would be that. Then the next step to overcome the obstacle is the Ace of Cups. And this is just really accepting the cup that wasn't, like, something wasn't being reciprocated. Maybe the king or the knight was not giving back to the person or the thing that was trying to, like, put effort in. And then they're just like, I don't know, I can't. It's almost as if like someone's learning, like a bird learning how to fly. Like it has to learn how to fly at some point. That's what the birds are made to do, or um, it's like a natural thing for them. And I feel that this is like kind of a natural plunge for them. Like you're gonna have to you're gonna have to learn how to fly. Then the obstacle is the temperance. There again, with finding peace in a world of chaos. It definitely feels like there's just like a lot of mental anguish, and maybe outer arguments that just really go with this. And this is a startup of communication I'm getting, because if there wasn't any, or at least acceptance, and um, in a way, like your the acknowledgement of that acceptance, and the energy is finally coming in and not just being guarded off. Because it's the Ace of Swords and then going to the Two of Swords. So it looks like this cycle is starting up, because the Ace of Swords is finally opening that channel. And then the Two of Swords is kind of moving into the Swords cycle of this communication and trying to think of what to say and how to heal things and um, maybe something that is really guiding and protecting this because you have the wings and then the angel also has the horns too. And again, I wouldn't be afraid of those things because of how angels can be what you're told that angels are and what they do, and some of the things are what you would expect, but there are also the biblical interpretations if you're of that religion, or and if you're not, you're another spirituality or religion, that's completely okay too. I like to talk about the different ones. So the two that I have in the beginning from the Mystic Fairy, and then I'll just pull out a couple more cards and I'll make it a hopefully a little bit of a shorter reading because you have the Queen of Pentacles and then you have the Nine of Swords. I thought that really stood out to me with the Nine of Swords because the Nine of Swords looks um like somebody is definitely stuck. But then it's like there's like this bird or messenger that's from the outside world trying to give you messages as if it's trying to get past that barrier and for you to really receive them and internalize it, and hopefully maybe you can interpret it too if it's in a different language, if it's a different way of how somebody talks or the different way of being. Um, Especially if there's love there, then it I think that would be the most important thing there. And then you also have the Queen of Pentacles. I feel like the Nine of Swords with that messenger has to do with the Queen of Pentacles. And you see that there is like the fairy caught in the something with thorns, like the rose bush with thorns. And it's like the wildness of it too, because the Queen of Pentacles is with the bramble. It's not just a walk in the park every day with this, but I'm gonna, it's like the Queen of Pentacles is like, I worked hard to get to this, to get to where I am, and we can't just go around the bush. We have to go through the bush to get to the next destination. And I feel that with that Four of Cups, that's part of like what the deal is. So I'll pull out another card, and then I have a Celtic Spirit Oracle that I'll quickly pull. That's really a sweet card. And then the gift, which is fantastic. Because here it's communication, gifts, and crystals. Because, like, with the crystal, like, it's just shining. That something is trying to, like, make its way, or something is trying to almost heal what was in the darkness, or um, just really illuminate something in order to guide that path, is what I'm getting. And a lot of times crystals have to do with healing. So, healing in different ways. And, oh, sorry. Because the fairy looks like it's offering a crystal. And then there's the Knave of Cups, and this is the beginning of the cycle or the court cards for the cups. So it's the Knave or Page, Knight, Queen, and King. And it does feel like that energy, that new acceptance of that energy where the Knight of Cups reversed turns into an upright and turns into a king and then turns into an emperor. Like it's like really turning something's just really turning, like someone's way of thinking or doing is just like flip-flop. And I think that's wonderful. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this was a helpful reading, and I'll see you sometime. Thanks.